A lot.
We are live, Dan.
We are live. Hello, everybody out there in, I don't know, what would you call it?
Things Paranormal Network.
Well, Things Paranormal Network, but I was thinking more along the lines of in the ether, in the outer world, so to speak. We are speaking to you from through the communication that is a tippy-tappy machine with lots of buttons and lights on it. So that's as technical as I get. I'm a bit of a Luddite, unfortunately.
You're
So
a
good
Luddite.
evening, everybody.
What's a Luddite?
Somebody who doesn't like technology and somebody who fights against technology and the development of technology.
Is that what it is?
I'm basically a caveman, to be honest with you.
Nothing wrong with being a caveman. That's what I'm saying. Us ghost hunters need to investigate more cavemen.
Well, this is true. This is very true. Although I have worked with quite a few over the years and had friends that were to be cavemen. But yes, we're here tonight, Vic, and we're here to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. We were looking at topics that we were going to bring up. And the one, oh, by the way, if there's anybody out there in the world that's looking at us, it's a long shot, I know, but if there's anybody out there in the world that's looking at us, please just say hi, write it in the comments so that we know that you're there and we know that we are going live to the world.
I'm sharing this out all over the place, Dan.
Jolly good, jolly good.
Want to share this?
Hopefully we'll get some feedback in a moment to let us know that we're not talking to the ether. We are actually engaging with sentient beings out there.
Sentient beings?
Sentient beings.
Hang on, I'm just sharing it another few times, Dan.
Share away, Viv. Share away.
Watching anybody in there?
Is there anybody out there?
Hi, Nick. Just put.
Hi, Nick. Hope you're good, buddy. Hope you're good.
Nick, this is all your fault. Yeah. We're blaming Nick for this.
We're going to hold you responsible for this, Nick. Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah, we were talking about discussing different topics every week, and we thought, well, what should we talk about this week? And we ummed and ahed, and we came up with apparitions.
This week is different types of hauntings.
Oh, different types of hauntings. But I want to put a little bit about apparitions, if that's all right, Viv.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. To sort of tell you about a couple of apparitions that I've seen.
Shall we do the different types of haunting first and do the other bit?
Let's do that, yes. So, we're going to talk about different types of haunting. You've done nothing, Nick. You're fine, mate. You're fine, buddy. You're fine.
All's well.
Just us. We're idiots. Well, I am. I can't speak for Viv, but I definitely am.
So, right. So.
Hi, Von.
Hi, Von.
Hope you're good. Nice to see you in the chat there, Von. Nice to see you on a Tuesday evening.
So join in with us and
definitely
put your questions up, anything that you want to say about the different types that we're going to go through now.
Yes.
Which is the first one. Right. So Dan, to you, what is a residual haunting? You hear this name come up all the time within the paranormal field.
A residual haunting to me is just a place memory. So it's an act or an energy that's been compressed or impressed into the natural surroundings of the environment. A lot of it is, the thing is, a lot of people call it the stone tape theory, don't they? I think they got that from a 1970s movie or film. That was where that came about. But it's basically, if anything particularly abhorrent or horrible happens in the environment, like murder or somebody being killed or what have you, then that automatically gets imprinted in the environment. Now, there's different theories as to why this happens. But one of the theories, which I sort of concur with myself, is that a lot of building materials like stone and brick have silicone in them, and silicone is part and parcel of the actual structure of tape. When they make tapes, it's the silicone that helps them to record onto that sort of medium. So they believe that it could be soaked in by the environment, soaked in by the silicone in the bricks or the stone, or indeed crystals that are around the, because there's natural crystals everywhere. So it could be sort of soaked into crystals. Sorry?
Water can sort of generate.
Yeah, water's a living thing, isn't it? It's very much an intelligent living thing. So it's all that. And when the environment is right, when it replicates the right sort of, gets to the optimum level, then what it does is it reactivates those place memories, so it plays them again. And of course, we know that they're non-intelligent actual activity. It's non-intelligent haunting. It's not interacting with anything. It's just a picture or a memory that's played back. on
Dan,
the environment.
can you give us an example? Have you seen a residual haunting? Can you give us an example of one?
I've not. To my knowledge, I've not seen a residual haunting. I've seen things on the internet and stuff, and I thought, well, that's just residual. The prime one that a fella told me, I think it might have been. Hi, Chrissy. I think it might have been. It might have been Terry, actually. I think it was saying he was a kid and he was staying over at a friend's house and they were sleeping in the bedroom. There's about 3 or 4 of them, and he was on the floor, as was another kid. And somebody came in and walked around the bed, walked to the window, and then walked back again. And he knew it wasn't the guy's father. He knew it was something that was of another world. And I would think that would probably be, to me, be, because it didn't interact with him, it didn't acknowledge him, and it just played itself out. Like,
do you know, Dan, I was called into a house because they had some weird stuff going on in the house, and you could quite clearly see the outline of a woman sitting on the stairs with her hands in her face like this, crying.
Right.
And you could hear the crying, you could see her, and it was going on and on and on. And we actually managed to tape it. This is like years and years ago. And so this woman, because she started getting scared, she called us in to do a little investigation, help her get rid of it. So we went into the usual, go into the history of the house, who owned it before, could we find them, contact them, all the rest of it, yada yada. Did they have that same? We wanted to go to the previous owners to ask them if they had the same issues. So we tracked down the previous owners, and we actually found that the couple divorced. And we managed to get hold of the lady, the wife, who was in the house previously. And we showed her what we'd got and why we were getting this and what we were doing for this family in that home. And it transpires what we were seeing and hearing, in fact, was her. So her husband used to beat her up in the house, and quite badly. And the very act of her being thrown down the stairs, smacked, kicked, punched, all the rest of it, the very act was blasted into the very fabric.
Violence, isn't it?
Yeah, violence. So the house was replaying this act of her sitting on the stairs, shaking and crying. We paid her the EVP of her crying, and she said, "Yeah, I recognise that as me."
Was she okay after that?
Yeah. I mean, she was living a happy life. She got remarried. She'd gone on to have children and living a really happy life. But the very essence that this residual haunting happened and was replaying events of someone still alive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I often wonder to myself, actually, Viv, I know probably I'm jumping the gun a bit, but is this where doppelgangers come from? When people say, well, I saw something that looked exactly like me, is it a residual energy or residual memory of them? They do something continually, and then they're in their house, and then they see themselves do it again. Hiya, Jamie. I mean, obviously that probably isn't the answer, but I do wonder if that's the answer to some. Hiya, Lois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right, we've done residual. Anybody in the chat got any questions about residual hauntings? Please fire them away. We'll put them up. We'll discuss them, or you can come on if you like.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They're as interesting as any haunting, aren't they? The theory and the idea of that happening in the environment, something being encrypted into the materials, is amazing.
I mean, when you think about it, we're going to next year. We're heading off to the Sharon Tate house. Could some of that be residual? Do you think? Because that's lava flow, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I think when we were speaking to David Oman before, the thing that makes me wonder, or think, I mean, I don't know, there may be some residual stuff there, but I think that house wasn't there when the murders happened, was it? And that house was on an adjacent lot. So why would Sharon Tate be in his house, and why would she be walking up and down his stairs?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, there could be residual stuff. Definitely there could be residual stuff.
I don't know about you, Dan, but I find, in my experience, because you've been doing it a long time now, I've been doing it a hell of a long time. with residual hauntings, I don't get that, you know, that prickly, your hairs stand up in the back of your neck sort of thing. I don't get that with a residual haunting.
See, as far as I know, I've not experienced one. I've not ever experienced a residual haunting. Hi,
Hi,
Howard.
Mr.
Hope you
Petrie.
good. Yeah, I don't really know. I couldn't say because I've not experienced it. So, but as you say, I wouldn't think that it would be as frightening, because
No.
I think that particularly people like us that have been doing it for many years, I think we would recognise it for what it was. Because as soon as you see that there's no interaction, there's no eye line, you know, there's no crossing eye lines or what have you, then you can pick up from that the chances are that's probably residual.
Yeah, I know.
David
Do you
Oman
know
is a
what?
great
I love
person.
that guy.
Lovely,
I love him.
lovely, lovely man.
I love him. Oh, I could just squeeze his cheeks.
Yeah, I like David. He's honest. I like
not
David.
Howard. Well, squeeze Howard.
And he pulls no punches, which is what I like about David.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice man. Very
but
nice.
We get a lot of residual hauntings here in the UK. You know, like stories of the headless horseman and
exactly. It is
quite
soldiers. A cool thing, Lois. Yeah, I love that feed. You get that, Viv? I tell you what, I get as well, Lois. It never dawned on me. When it first happened, I didn't think anything of it. But then as the years go on, it seemed to be something that happened quite a lot at purportedly haunted properties. I'm sure you are, Howard. I'm sure you are. It's the feeling of the cobwebs on the face.
Yeah.
When you get that cobweb feeling across the face, and that happens to me a lot on purportedly haunted buildings as opposed to definitely.
I think that's more of a spiritual thing, you know, not necessarily a haunting. I think that's letting you know, oi, we're here and we want to communicate, sort of thing. But
yeah, it's nice. I think it's quite a nice thing to experience, really.
But also, Dan, like in you know, like these old battlefields when they say they see armies coming and fighting each other and stuff.
I think a lot of that's probably place memory, isn't it? It's residual.
Yeah.
But then there are definitely stories of soldiers that, I mean, take Gettysburg. There's stories there of that interacting with members of the public.
Dan,
I read one recently that was very interesting.
We are going to have to put Getty's story about that. The farmers are out in bloody false. Let me just close this again. Sorry, that's what happens when you live out in the sticks.
They work hard, them farmers, bless them.
Doing their thing.
Bless them, they work hard.
We're gonna have to put Gettysburg in our on our list of places to go.
It is one of my places that I'd love to go.
It's growing and growing and growing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's an amazing, but it's such an interesting place from a historical point of view as well.
Yeah,
I get that feeling when I picked up something that I can't explain, and you know, I never experienced the cobweb feeling. Friends of mine have. It'll come, Lois. It took a long while for me to get it, really, but it did come. It came.
We love Nick.
Sorry, was reading the things then. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so that's, I mean, they're interesting.
So that's residual hauntings.
Let's residual.
Move on. Number two. Number two is interactive hauntings.
Intelligent
hauntings. This is a good one.
Yeah,
Dan,
I've had a couple of those.
Over to you.
I had one when I was very young, and I got up, went to the bathroom. I remember washing my hands, going back to the bed, sitting on the bed and thinking, whatever you do, don't look to your left. Do not look to your left. Don't look to your left. Just pull your legs up, put them into bed and close your eyes. Like a moron or like a nutter, I looked to my left, and there, standing a few feet away from me, was a full body apparition of a guy. And he stood there looking at me, and I froze. I was only about 6 or 7. I froze. I wanted to scream for my dad, but my voice I was just trapped. Did
he say anything to you?
He looked at me, and it felt like it was forever. It felt like it was for a long time, but it probably wasn't. It's probably only for a few seconds. But I remember he looked at me, and he smiled, and then he looked at me, smiled, so he sort of interacted, turned, and then vanished. That was one. The other interactive one was at the one in Nottingham, the Galleries of Justice. And I told you about that. There was myself, Dawn was there, and there was a somebody who was off of a very well-known TV program. And there's a place there called the ladies' washroom, isn't there?
Yeah.
And what it is, it's like they were basically prisoners, weren't they? And they used to do the laundry. So that was the laundry room, and the men were in a different part of it. And myself and Dawn were in there, and we decided there was nothing going on there. It was pitch black. Couldn't really see your hand in front of your face. So we decided we'll go down to the condemned cell. So we went to walk down to the condemned cell. As we turned to go down, heard some footsteps and a sort of a scuffle behind me back in the room. So I looked at Dawn, she looked at me. I said, I'm going to go and have a look at that. By this time, this TV fella came down and he was standing about 3 steps up looking into the room. And he said, what's going on? I said, I just thought I heard something. Just going to check it. So I went back into the ladies' washroom. Dawn came back in. And then Dawn, I don't know what Dawn done, but then I moved by myself. I went into then the little room that was off the bedroom. Do you know the bedroom there, Viv?
Yeah,
and I looked around there. It's pitch black, but I looked around and I couldn't really see anything. And then as I came out, Dawn was in front of me. And I could just make out her silhouette and her shadow. And I went to put my hand on Dawn to move her out of the way. And I said, oh, excuse me. And as my hand got to where Dawn was, Dawn moved out of the way. Well, it wasn't Dawn. Dawn went, I'm over here, Dan. So this black shadow thing that was about my height, human shape, I nearly touched it, but it must have, I don't know the timing on it. It must have read what I was going to do. It must have known what I was going to do. And as I nearly touched it, it moved off to the left. So yeah, I bet it is, Nick. I bet it is. Oh, Culloden, my friend went there. Yeah, that's excellent place.
I
those couple.
I had some very memorable interactive hauntings. At the time, I was so scared. Now, I'll take you to just a couple, just to give you an idea. Interactive meaning that the spirit or the apparition is looking at you, notices you, or tries to interact with you in some way.
Well, can you tell them a little bit more about the one that happened to me recently after you finished?
Yeah. Well, I was on a very extreme haunted case that went on for about 2.5 years, and the lady, sadly, whose home it was, she passed away. But while I was in that home, she would get us to stay overnight. You know, we'd spend 2 or 3 days with them. In some cases, we'd spend all week with them. But on this occasion, I had to give up what I call my bedroom in the house. So we had a little bit of a swap over, and I slept in the bedroom, which was closer to the couple that owned the house. And it was while I was sleeping in this bedroom, I got a really bad feeling. You know, you just can't, you don't know where it's come from. You've just got a very bad feeling something's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, do you know what? Just turn the light off, go to sleep. It'll be all right in the morning. You know, I was looking forward to breakfast because she used to put on her arse. She used to look after.
She used to feed you, didn't she?
Yeah, we were like her kids. Anyway, I just nodding off to sleep, and my hands were outside of the covers. So I was just resting on my back, hands on my chest, like I do. I tend to cross my hands when I sleep. And I felt this hand and fingers grab my elbow and start to pull me out of the bed. Seriously. And I wasn't dreaming this. I was fully awake. I turned and looked, and I saw the outline of a man with glasses bending over me and pulling me. When I told him, do you know what? There was a lampshade next to the bed on the nightstand. I just switched it on, jumped out of bed, ran out of the room as quickly as I could. Now, he was pulling me out of bed for a reason, but I wasn't going to stop and hang around to find out because it took me by surprise. So he was interacting with me in a very, very big way. You know, I've been to places where I've seen a spirit and they've pointed at something and wanted me to go somewhere and look at something. But that was an interaction that was quite physical. He was actually dragging me out of bed, maybe to show me something. I don't know. But it was frightening. Not all interactions are good. And Dan's going to tell you about one more before we move on with this subject.
Right. Viv and myself were invited somewhere a little recently, actually. It's probably a couple of months ago now, Viv, wasn't it?
Oh, wasn't that long ago, was it?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And it was an old farmhouse, and it wasn't derelict, but it was disused, and it was tucked out in the middle of, was it in Norfolk, Viv?
Which one are you talking about?
The one that Joanne.
Oh, yeah, Norfolk. Norfolk.
And we've walked in. We've turned up anyway, but we've walked in. We cut across this field. Skegness. You're right. It was Skegness. You are absolutely right. So we turned up, didn't we? And we tried to cross a bit of field to the house, and we walked in, and we just sort of greeted everybody. Hi, how's everybody doing? There was quite a few people there, actually, more than we would have anticipated, but less than I thought. So walked in, said hello to Joe, didn't we, and the other couple, and then there was 3 guys in the lounge area, I think it was. And I've walked in, and 2 guys are talking to each other, and there's one standing there. He's got like a beard and stuff and a moustache, and
you were talking to him.
I was talking to him, and
at this point, I was outside trying to sort out cameras and equipment. So
you were outside. You were.
So I didn't go in at this stage.
Yeah, so I'd said hello to these guys. They'd all acknowledged me. They're all fine. It was pleasant. And the guys had this piece of equipment, like a paranormal music box. And I'd bought one, but I'd never set it up at that point to use it. And I didn't really know how to use it. I know it's pretty basic, but I thought, well, if these guys have got it, it's going off, continually going off. I'm going to ask them, is that prepping it? Is that setting itself? What's happening? So there's one guy there, and I said,
"Hi, Lois.
Bye, Lois. Thanks for coming out for a bit, though. Thank you." So I said to this one guy, "Oh, I've got one of those, but I've not used it. Is that what it's meant to do? Is that what it does? Is it adjusting itself? Is it bedding itself in?" And he said, "No, there's an energy around it that's going off. There's an energy close to it, so it's going off." So I said, "Well, that's interesting." And then I just got speaking to him. I can't even remember what it was now. Just mundane things about ghost hunting and stuff.
I went in.
Bits and bobs.
I went in.
You came in, didn't you?
The 2 lads. I saw 2 lads there, and Dan, and then these guys went upstairs. And then Dan says to me, "Oh, that bloke with a beard's a nice fella."
Yeah. And you said, "What bloke with a beard?"
What bloke with a beard?
And I said, "That bloke, I'd just been talking to him for about 5 or 10 minutes. We were talking about equipment and ghosts and stuff."
No.
And he said that there's an energy that set it off. And you went, "No." And
there's no bloke with a beard.
There was nobody there, was there, with a beard?
No.
So I don't know. The jury's still out on that one. I can't.
So for the course of the evening, I was looking out for this bloke with a beard. There's no bloke with a beard. And so he must have been talking to you about paranormal equipment and how
he was.
Yeah, and how he's manipulating it to set it off.
Well, he said, "Well, no, there's an energy setting that off." And of course, I didn't think he was the bloody energy.
Yeah.
I bet he was taking the right Michael out of me, really taking the rise out of me and having a laugh at my expense. Can you imagine going back, can't you? Going, this mug I was just speaking to in this house didn't know I was a ghost.
Yeah, what an idiot. Yeah.
What an idiot.
So on the apparition side, so Von.
So Von says, "My first apparition haunting was in my first house, which had interaction most days, intelligent. The second apparition was my grandma in the house I am in now." Oh, okay.
That's good.
So does she... Oh, that was Lois. Does she interact with you then, Von? Oh, my God.
I was just talking about me being pulled out. Yeah, so...
What's his name get tugged out of bed there?
That's quite frightening.
Didn't Luke get tugged out of that bed?
Yeah, same bedroom.
He had his leg tugged, didn't he?
He was pulled out the bed from the end though, so like
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
lying in the bed, and from his bad leg, from his ankle area, he was grabbed and pulled, yanked towards the end of the bed. So yeah, people were being pulled out of bed in that room quite often. It wasn't good. It wasn't
How
good.
annoying! You're trying to get to sleep and then they pull you out of bed. Really out of order, isn't it?
Yeah, the fact that they're touching you, that is like, you know, what?
Exactly. I was probably just checking on you, Yvonne. You're not
Yeah.
grandparents, all right?
So number 3 on the list, we have crisis hauntings.
Yes. Yes. I've never experienced one.
I have.
Have you?
I have.
Although
I live in Cambridgeshire, as you know.
Go on, you go first.
My family, because I'm originally from London, and I left a lot of them in London. My mum lives up in Cambridge, and so does my sister. But my brother and 2 of my children, well, I say children, they're men now, you know, they all live in London. So I got a phone call one day from my sister-in-law, because my brother had a heart operation, and he passed away on the operating table. But they fought to keep him alive, and they put him on a life support machine. But in hindsight, we all knew that he was already dead. But they were going to switch the life support machine to see if his organs would still work. And so we were on a mercy mission, if you like, in the cars, get down to London as soon as we can. So it was a 2-hour drive. So we were trying our hardest to get there before they switched the machine off. They was going to switch the machine off at 11 o'clock. So we left in plenty of time. We got onto the M25 and hit traffic, as you usually do when you hit the M25. It was a bit heavier than normal. And we come off the M25 at the Uxbridge Junction, and we hit McDonald's. My mum wanted to go to the toilet. I mean, my mum was like as nervous as hell. You can imagine her own son, his life support machine's about to be switched off. So she'd gone to the toilet, come back to the car, and I heard my brother's voice. He has a distinct voice. So this is not by way of showing himself to me. This is by talking to me. I heard his voice. It said, "Don't worry. There's no need to rush. I'm gone now, but I'm all right." And within 5 minutes of hearing that voice, the phone call came from my sister-in-law to say they had something else going on. They had to switch the machine off early, and he's gone. He just went. And I said, "Oh, yeah, I know." She said, "How do you know?" I said, "Nick told me." She couldn't believe what I was telling her. Anyway, my mum, she was able to sort of, I mean, she was devastated, obviously, but by the time we got there and we went in to see him, she was in a better state than what she would have been if she'd seen it for herself. So that was my only time, Dan. A bit of a crisis thing going on there, not quite a haunting.
Yeah.
But telling me that he's okay, don't rush, take your time. I'm not going in, my body's not going anywhere, but I've left, sort of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gone. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. Which is how they manifest themselves, isn't it? In different ways.
Yeah.
I remember when my uncle died. I was only a little kid, but I do have vague memories of him. But I remember when he passed away, that my mum heard him in the hall coming up the stairs, and there was a particular way, because he used to let himself and stuff. So there was a particular way that he used to turn, and she knew it was him because of the way that he turned. He had this particular walk, and he would get to the top, and then he would, rather than lift his feet and walk round, he would just shuffle them round.
Yeah.
You know, and it was very distinctive. And she said to my dad, she went, "Oh, John," she went, like a brother, she went, she said, he's here late tonight, very late tonight. And it was about 2 a.m. So she got up and she said, "I'll go and see how he is and go and greet him." So she got up and she walked around. He wasn't there. There's nobody there. And that morning, the police had come to say that they found him dead.
Aww.
And he died. I don't know what time he died at, so I can't say if it was at the exact time. But she always thought that was her way of him telling her
Yeah.
I'm still around. I'm still here. You know, don't worry. But yeah, it's not always apparitions, is it? It's different
No,
ways they let you know, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, like there's people that I've spoken to. I think it was his daughter or son, or I'm sure it was his daughter. She died in a car accident, and he saw her like put the key in the door, come in the house, walk through the house, and he even spoke. All right, Dad, you know. And then the next thing you know, he's getting a phone call. You know, as you do, turn around, you say, "Yeah, I'm all right." You know, so she
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
and he got a phone call to say, "Come to the hospital. Your daughter's been in an accident and she died en route." So it's like the daughter's gone to see her dad to say, "I'm all
It's
right.
okay. It's all right. Yeah.
I'm home. I'm all right." But she's actually died on the way to hospital. When he's got there, you know, she's already gone. So
Yeah.
for some people, it's solace, isn't it? They're getting a bit of, well, I
Yeah.
know I've just seen
It's
her.
like a verification, isn't it? It's a validation that, you know what, they're still there. That they've moved on, but they've not moved away from you. They've just skipped, you know, into the next dimension or what have you. But it's interesting. It is interesting.
Do you also find that you know, things like 9/11, when all those people, God rest their souls, when they were jumping from the buildings,
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
in major disasters, collisions on motorways where there's multi-car pile-ups and things, people have said, and some have even photographed apparitions or things leaving the scene, or you know, people all over the world are experiencing crisis hauntings, not even realizing that it's actually a crisis haunting. It's them letting you know, I'm going now, but I'll be all right, don't worry, sort of thing.
See, this is not an argument, but this is a little debate I have with people who I've never seen a ghost. I said, well, how do you know? Not all ghosts are Roman gladiators. Not all ghosts are Victorians.
No.
You know, you could be seeing something. You could like the house that we were at. You could be interacting with somebody, speaking to them. They might very well be in the world of spirit.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know. You don't know. We could be seeing them all the time and not realise.
Let's look at the comments. So where we go? Right, Von.
Oh, so Von says, yeah, no, she only saw her grandma once. That's because I said that's. Oh, hello, Paranormal Nation Radio. I hope you're all good there.
Von says,
I'm sure Grandma is still around us, but as in life, she always stayed in the background unless she wanted to know. I said, that's grandmother's all the way, is it? Watching in the background, then picking fault. That's grandmother's.
You're not doing this right. Right, so number 4 on our list, doppelgangers.
Yes.
We mentioned them a little bit earlier. So for people who don't know what a doppelganger is, it is supposed to be your twin, or they say it's your evil twin. And when you see your doppelganger, apparently in law, a bad omen, or somebody's going to die, or something really bad is about to befall you.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen your doppelganger, Dan?
Yeah, I'd go find somebody, 2 people who look like me, wouldn't you?
I've seen my doppelganger.
No, have you?
Well, I say I've seen my doppelganger from a distance.
Thank God I haven't.
But my mum actually spoke to her. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was about 15, 16, and we lived in a place called Bedfont in Middlesex. And there was like, you know, the little sort of paper shop run by the local Indians that keep it open late, so you can get milk, whatever it is that you needed from there. Anyway, it's called Lacani's. Oh, it was called Lacani's. And my mum had popped in Lacani's on the way home from work, and it was a summer's evening, and she'd popped in Lacani's to, I don't know what she was in there for, picking up something. And I had me permed hair, you know, in the 80s, thinking I was really cool in here.
It's like a bubble perm things.
And I had my rah-rah skirt on.
Rah-rah skirts, yes.
Yeah. So I was coming round by Bedfont Green Church, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, and he was on his push bike, and we were having our usual row like you do when you're kids. And my my mum's talking to this girl in the shop, apparently. I find out afterwards. And she's calling me by my name to this girl. And she's been like, Vivian, and she was getting really annoyed because this girl wasn't answering her. But anyway, the girl left the shop. I see this girl come out the shop. And I remember my boyfriend at the time said, gosh, she really looks like you. And I said, yeah, she does a bit, doesn't she? Like this. And then within a flash, she was gone. Me and my boyfriend had got to the shop. He'd put his bike up against the wall. My mum came out. All right, mum, what are you doing here? What are you buying me? And all this stuff. And my mum had to go at me. Why didn't you answer me? Blah, blah, blah. You're just, wait till you get home. I'm going to be having words with you. You know, the usual that you get off your mother. And I'd got a clue what she was talking about.
Yeah, tongue lashing,
Then she realised that I had different clothes on. Right? So she was like, oh, like this. And then she went off in her car. We did laugh about it, but it wasn't long after that incident. I've never seen this girl again. My mum never seen her again. But my nan, who I was very close to, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Oh.
And so that was the bad thing.
The befallen you, yeah.
And she only lasted 18 months. At one point, she was only given 24 hours to live, but she saw herself through that 18 months. But that
tough generation, though, wasn't it?
So when they say your doppelganger is the bad omen or the bringer of bad news or the harbinger of bad news,
yeah.
I really, we just laughed at it. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh yeah, that's my doppelganger. I never even thought about that. You know, it was just a girl that looked like me.
Yeah.
But how weird is that?
Well, it's odd, isn't it? I think the closest thing I've
speak.
ever had. Oh, no, it's mad. I think the closest thing I've ever had to or experienced to that is a mimic of a voice. There was a guy I used to work with, another investigator, years ago, and Mickey's name was, and we turned up at this house. This house was, the house was negative, but it turned out to be the son, one of the sons that were, or grandsons that was the problem. And it was his brother, who was a friend of mine, said, can you come and have a look see what's going on? And it was the time when we used to use all the CCTV, but it was all cabled stuff. And so we were running cables up and down. So I put some cables upstairs and I looked for Mick and I couldn't see Mick anywhere. So I shouted up in case he was up there. Mick, the cable's up the top. If you want to run it through into the cameras, you can do that now. And their voice came down, yeah, I'm on it. I'll sort that now. And then Mick put his head through the kitchen. He went, who are you talking to?
And you heard it from upstairs?
I went, you just spoke to me from upstairs. He went, I've been here. I went, you told me, you're going to get on with it and sort it. No, he went, not me. And I went, okay. And I think that's the one that's distinctive. I'm sure it's happened to me again. I've heard somebody else.
Did you have any bad omens happen or anything after that?
No, I think Spirit takes the mickey out of me, to be honest with you. I think they just like, here he comes again. There's that idiot. Let's wind him up. Let's get him.
Let's have a look in the chat to see before we move on. So.
Oh yeah, I have it. Yeah. Yes, that's I have experienced the feeling of knowing something isn't right yet.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, you, Carl.
Hi, Nick. Doppelgangers are a weird one, but it's still a haunting of a sort. So
it's still paranormal, isn't it? It's the unexplained.
Yeah. So I put that in the doppelganger category.
Yeah, it's one. Definitely.
So number 5 on the list. This is a strange one, Dan.
Go on.
Hat man or hag woman. They're in the same category. So hat man or hat woman or hag, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So these are getting more and more and more. Hang on a minute. Paranormal Nation is Carl, just to let you know. Paranormal Nation Carl, that's what I'm going to call him.
Paranormal Nation Carl. Hi, you, Carl.
I bet he's not as cool as my Nick, though. No one's as cool as him. And by the way, he's my Nick. All right. No, but joking aside, Hat man or woman, it seems to be more on an increase since Hollywood. This phenomena of hat man or woman seems to be getting a bit more. People more and more and more are talking about it. Do you think it's because people are fed this? Do you think it's because they're experiencing sleep paralysis and they're
I,
seeing that? Do you want? Come on.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's
Talk
like
to
the
me.
old Sandman, isn't it? With the hat. With
Yeah.
I think it was Orson Welles, wasn't it? He used to have the cape and the big black hat, and then there used to be a silhouette of him, and he used to advertise a Sandman Sherry or something. It was years ago.
Wasn't the hat man in that film? You know, where the girl died. That little Carrie Ann.
Oh, I don't know.
There
I'm
was
not
a hat
sure.
man
But
in that.
Poltergeist.
Yeah. So
That was was that guy a minister, wasn't he?
yeah, but wearing a hat.
But he's yeah. It's that type of hat, isn't it? I do think that sometimes we can create thought forms that can then possibly take on their own identity and their own persona.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was borne out. The Philip experiment, wasn't it, in Canada? I think it was Canada. And there was university students, and they wanted to run this experiment to see if they could get a property that had no paranormal history attached to it, but then create this idea of a ghost, name him, and then put somebody in there and see if they then fed off of this information.
Yeah.
And then paranormal activity stuff did start happening in this house. So
But
they think that the more people that are bought into it,
Hat man, though, in England we have a lot of hauntings that go back to the Victorian era, where everyone wore a bloody hat. If you didn't wear a hat, you were poor, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about those ones because I've never really experienced or seen. I've seen people on videos where they said, like there's been a silhouette with a hat on, but as you say, lots of people wore hats years ago, so it might be just a part and parcel of the fashion of the time.
But what about the hag woman, though? That's one you don't hear of much. Where
no,
and I've seen that in films, but the hag woman's supposed to be quite in your face and while you're asleep and
she
all
sits
that
on
sort
your
of thing.
chest, doesn't she? So it's a lot of people with sleep paralysis.
And sometimes the hat man would do the same. So
yeah,
do you think that's just?
Have you ever suffered sleep paralysis?
No.
I had it once. And it's to do with the two states of sleep that you go into. If you go into sleep, I think it's hypnagogic. And when you're coming out of sleep, it's called hypnopompic. So what happens, those two stages of sleep is you're between both worlds.
Yeah.
So you're half asleep and half awake. So what you're dreaming,
your brain
you're then focusing
goes to sleep before your body does.
Exactly. And, you bring it into reality, you're conjuring it up. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's Japan, they train children in the art of protection against it. But whether that's scientific, they train them, or they're training them.
What happened to you, Dan?
That was nothing. I just woke up one day, eyes open, but couldn't. It was only for a couple of seconds, but just couldn't move. And it felt a while, but it probably was only a few seconds, a couple of seconds. But it was just like my eyes had opened, but I couldn't. I was still coming out of that sleep state, but I was aware of what was going on. But that was years ago. But I mean,
you didn't see anything in the room, or
no.
Didn't feel pressure.
I know a lot of it, they say it comes from stress. A lot of things are brought on through stress, aren't they? And I can see how people, you're not sleeping properly, your sleep is disrupted, and and then all of a sudden everything's out of sync. So I can understand that. I can buy into that, but that doesn't. What I'm saying is that doesn't mean that there isn't a hag out there, or a sleep hag, or whatever.
She's called Kathy Taylor. That's my mum.
I'm gonna tell her that. But I think it doesn't mean that because people have sleep paralysis. That doesn't mean that that's the answer to cover everything.
So what about people that are seeing a hat man when they go on investigation somewhere? They're claiming like 2 or more people are seeing the same thing in the distance of a tall man wearing a hat. Do you think that could be what you mentioned before, where the Philip experiment, where people have talked about it in the past?
It could be.
They
Yeah, it
program
could be. Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, yeah. It could be. It could be. I mean, it's quite odd, isn't it? I was listening to a thing today about I can't think of the chap's name now. He worked for the American government. I can't think of his name, but he was talking about um, aliens and orbs, and he was saying that he couldn't say for definite, but there seems to be a little association or a link and association between orbs and UFO sightings.
We're talking orbs at the end, so we're not going to
Oh, okay.
go
I won't get
into
into that, but yeah, but that's. I mean, but he was talking. Basically, he was talking about camouflage, and he was because the guy had asked him, "Do you think that they can transform? That they can either become an animal or they can take on the persona of another person or even a human?" And he said, "Well, I can't answer that." He said, "But then, there are lots of animals out there that could do it, and if their technology is way beyond ours, which it probably is, then I can't see any reason why they wouldn't." But he couldn't say yes.
I want to add. Now, I know I did, not anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there have had or may in the future experience it or are experiencing now, where we keep funny hours. Our bodies do strange things. And for me, one of them was insomnia. And 72 hours with no sleep. And then I started to hallucinate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, my hallucinations were happening while I was driving. It was so dangerous. But anyhow, even to the tablets we take or even the food that we eat or eating can have an effect on us as investigators. So I do believe that this could also trigger us into believing that we're seeing Hat Man or Woman or Hag Woman or that sort of thing. So I think we have to be careful when we put things into categories, don't we, really?
Do you know what? I agree with you. But I also think, you have these like ghost hunters go around, they say, well, there's a high amount of EMF there, then that's going to play with the neural pattern of your brain, and it's going to sort of trigger you to see things that aren't there.
Or
and like the sleep paralysis, I think to myself, well, you could say that, or you could say that it's triggering your brain to identify things that are there that you couldn't see unless your brain was in that point. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So are we seeing things that aren't there, or is it opening up our perception to actually identify stuff that is there that we wouldn't normally see?
Yeah. Right, let's go to the comments. Let's see what's been said about Hat Man and Hat Woman or Hag Woman, whatever you want to call her.
The subconscious mind is so powerful in between sleep stages. A lot of exactly.
Spot on, Von.
Exactly. Especially these movies, etc. But that won't include an actual haunting. Maybe seeing them at the end of the bed. Yeah, it's exactly. I do wonder about these movies and that they make in these programs. I think to me, it's like almost like a slow release of what the reality could be opening perception in the crossover of sleep states. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I've often thought as well? I think I was saying to you, Viv, it dawned on me. I was doing an investigation, and obviously a lot of the investigations you do are late at night, early hours of the morning, and we were doing EVPs, and a lot of the EVPs that we got back were sort of they made sense, some of them, but then they were a little bit garbled, and he was like, and it dawned on me, well, you know what? We're actually investigating at night when people are asleep. Are we actually tuning into their consciousness rather than actually like liaising with spirit? Are we liaising with spirit, but their consciousness, are they out of body and becoming receptive to what we're asking? But I don't know. It's just a theory.
Let's move on. We got another one. I just added another one to the list. Right. So, but hang on one sec. This list is growing and growing.
Good.
Different types of hauntings.
Good.
Dan, I'll tell you, this is mammoth, this list. Right. So number 6 on the list, you're going to love this one, is inanimate objects. And the one, I'll give you an example of one, Sutton Hoo. Now, if people don't know what Sutton Hoo is, it's where a Viking longboat was found with a Viking buried in it, because normally they set fire to it, but this one was like a big burial mound. They excavated it, they found this Viking longboat with whoever he was that was in there was buried with riches, with armor, with gold.
Yeah.
There was a hoard in there. It was just amazing. But
Yeah.
they have a museum there at Sutton Hoo. I think they've rebuilt the mound now, but you can see the boat, and I think his helmet is in the British Museum because it's
solid gold, that helmet, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but apparently at Sutton Hoo on this mound, once a year, the Viking ship is supposed to reanimate and sit above the mound, and people have claimed to see this. And it only happens once a year. There's other places that have aeroplanes that appear. We've been at Ruthven and we've heard military aircraft coming into land that weren't even there. So again, why are these objects reanimating, Dan? What the bloody hell's all that about?
I have no idea. The only thing I can think is that, but I mean, like the ship, why would the ship be levitating above the mound where it was found? I've got no answer for that. I mean, things like planes and stuff, maybe that's place memory. Maybe that's the sound or the sight of something being, because a lot of people have said there's one in, I think, is it Derwater, isn't it, up in Derbyshire? There's like a big dam there that they filled with water, and there was a plane coming back. I think it was the United States Air Force. I don't know if it was a B-52. But anyway, it was coming back. It was coming back off of a sortie over Germany, and it had crashed. There's still remnants of the plane there.
Yeah.
And it had crashed, and people have seen this plane go over, but accompanied by no sound.
Yeah,
which is even creepier. The props are going, it's there, they can see it, and it's low, and then all of a sudden it just disappears.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. Maybe that's like people panicking, and the environment again is recorded, you know, what's happened.
I've also heard of somebody seeing, not in this country, but abroad, they've seen a British tank go across a field, and then it just disappears. And then years and years and years later, they dug up in this particular farmer's field, they dug up a British First World War tank.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I don't know. I mean, why would an inanimate object be giving us a message? Oh, I'm here, dig me up. You know, it's
for me, it's just the only one that throws me, and it's just place memory. I think for me, it's just things that have happened and then just got encoded in the environment like a video message or a video film. But the one about the ship perplexes me because I can't understand why that would be levitating above that mound, unless there was water there at one point. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Howard's just saying a whole tank. Wow. Yeah. It was, oh God, I don't even know where it was. I'd have to go back and check. But I remember hearing that story, but the farmer used to see this tank on, you know, going across his field because he had run out there thinking that his crops were being spoilt, and they weren't. So he paid no attention to it. Eventually, some military experts and, you know, archaeologists went out there, dug up the field and found the tank. It was an absolutely amazing story. I mean, I don't even know where that tank is now, to be honest. But
it'd be interesting to find out whether that replay had stopped once they discovered the tank. But it still happens, you know.
But to see and the Mary Celeste, the boat, that ghost ship, that's another one. Is that these ghost ships appears. People see it. There's nobody on board, and then it disappears again.
Yeah, there's meant to be a pirate ship, isn't there, somewhere that's seen off the Caribbean that's that it just vanishes. But yeah, it's quite odd. It's quite odd. But I've got no explanation for that whatsoever.
These stories, though, Dan, I'm going to call them stories, okay? But these stories of inanimate objects reanimating, they go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
This is not something new.
No.
There must be something in it. Why are people reporting seeing these inanimate objects? Are they there to tell us something? Is it a spiritual thing that somebody's directly telling us, oh, there's something here, you need to look into it, and we're ignoring it because, excuse my French, but we quite literally just cacked ourselves for seeing something like that shouldn't be there?
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? It's just odd. It's weird. It's weird.
And I think this is a subject, Dan, that I think nobody really talks about much,
No, no,
and I don't know
because
why.
I don't think anybody can formulate an answer for it.
But
I
it's
think it's one of
absolutely
those things that the people experience. I mean, I don't think I've ever experienced an object. Well, obviously, I've seen energies, spirits, and they're
yeah.
wearing clothes. So clothes are just inanimate objects, aren't they? But yeah, I don't really know. I don't know.
I wonder.
And there's a theory, isn't there, that it's not actually happening in the environment, that you're seeing it because the spirit energies are, if you like, they're zapping that image into your mind. So you think you're seeing it, but they're perpetrating what you see.
I wonder if they've seen any on Oak Island. You know, the hunt for that lost treasure.
Yeah,
In Nova Scotia. It'd be interesting. I'd love to interview those guys to see if they've seen anything like that.
But it's an interesting world we live in.
Shall we look at the comments in the
yes? Let's have a look and see what other
subject
people's opinions are.
So
yeah, time slips. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's credible. I'm back, evil laugh. How are you, Howard? A whole tank. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome, says Howard. Did they find body? Yeah, that's true. Did they find anybody?
I don't know, but I
That'd
know.
be interesting, Howard, actually, to find out whether there was any remains.
I do know in Lincolnshire, they dug up I think it was what do you call it, a Lancaster bomber.
Yeah.
There'd been a storm and it had uncovered this aeroplane from the Second World War, and the pilot and the co-pilot were missing in action. You know, that's how it went. But anyway, this storm revealed this plane. And of course, they had to when that happens, they have to get the the authorities involved.
Yeah.
Then they because it was on a beach and there was public there, they normally rebury them. They don't normally take them up, but on this occasion, they had to take it up, and the two bodies were still sitting in their seats. So then they have to contact family and all the rest of it. One had moved to New Zealand, the family, and the other, they were here in the UK, and then they had to be reburied. So they actually had a proper funeral, which was the good thing that come from it. But got two funerals, they have to go into the rigmarole of finding the family, and it's quite horrific when you think about it. Digging it up, and somebody has to sit and work for that poor soul, that poor skeleton or whatever that they found, and trace back the families and find where they are. It's got to be awful, but anyway.
Oh yeah, I watch a thing on TV. I mean, I haven't watched it for a while. It's actually on YouTube now, I think, where there's a team of people that go and they dig these pits on the battlefield, and they'll find a body there. Yeah. And they found a young, it was a German soldier, a young guy, and they traced him back and they found out where he'd come from, where he lived, who his parents were. Aww. He was a concert pianist, this guy. Very talented, very young. Spoke to people that knew him, or that said that this was years ago, and saying what a nice chap he was and all that. And you think to yourself, and then that's it. He's laying on a battlefield.
Oh no, it's awful, isn't it? Such a waste.
Yeah, young German lad, and come beautiful town in Germany, just normal kid, and then ends up there. Yeah. It's heartbreaking. I
must say, parts of that aircraft are in our local aviation museum, and they have put notices out telling these guys stories. So you can actually go and see. But normally, things like that around here, they tend to rebury. But wow!
There you go.
Wow,
exactly, Howard. Ghost pirate ships off the coast of Louisiana.
By the way,
Pitcairn Island. There you go.
Dan, I heard a rumour that Howard is arranging, or might be arranging, a trip to New Orleans. I think we need to get to New Orleans.
Oh, definitely. Definitely New Orleans. So Yvonne Hunter says, I watched some videos on live of the group that recover planes, etc., from the war at request of the family. Yeah, it's nice to know that these people are getting proper burials, and that they're being put somewhere to be remembered, and they've been shown the respect that they deserve. Doesn't matter what nationality they are.
No.
you know, they're all young. They're all innocent, aren't they? Really?
Right. Shall we move on to the next one, number 7?
Yes. Yes.
Animal hauntings. Now, this is where I'm going to get controversial, and I don't care, Dan. I don't care. So, animals are energy. Animals,
Sentient.
yeah, animals are loving. Animals are part of our family, and when they pass into spirit, they can also come back. Now, when somebody walks into a house that has a dog will get so excited to see somebody, will jump up. They have claws. They don't mean to hurt you. You get scratched. Now, I've been scratched by a dog and had 3 scratches across my arm. And it's not because a demon has done it. It's because a spirit of a dog has... And the first thing I did when I walked into that house was smell the dog. And I knew the dog was there because the dog has a distinct smell. Love dogs.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
My cats stink, but that's a different smell. But anyway, I digress. So, yeah. So, dogs in spirit, they do jump up. They do let you know that they're there. It doesn't mean that I've been scratched by a demon. It means dog's been, said hello, gone and left me alone now, you know.
Yeah.
But I have seen my pets in spirit. And I'm glad that they've come back and let me know that they're okay. You know, I've even heard spirit animals, not my animals, other people's animals, and recorded them. But Dan, you worked at a zoo.
So Zuki for many years, yeah.
Tell us what your experiences of spirit animals are.
Well, I'll tell you one really. There was one years ago, a friend of mine used to have this chicken, and it was quite well known. And she called it Chucky. It was from the zoo. And
Chucky the chicken.
Chucky the chicken. And she called it Chucky. And he got on national TV because this chicken would fly. But he wouldn't just flap his wings and fly a little bit. He'd fly quite a bit and then he'd land. And of course, this is like people haven't seen this before. And so they got him on the news, but he stuck his... none of us really liked Chucky. We thought he was an arse. Pardon my French. Because there was animals like wolves and tigers and lions and that. But everybody come up and go, where's Chucky? We want to see Chucky. Chucky the chicken. Well, one day he stuck his head out and a fox bit his head off.
Oh.
And they still saw Chucky walking around, but they realised that he'd become a poultrygeist.
Is this a joke or is it a true story? It's a joke.
Well, it's a true story, but it's a joke at the end. He was a poultrygeist.
You're terrible. Look, if people
but no.
If people like that joke in the chat, send some hearts. If you didn't like that, send an angry face because Dan needs a slap for that one.
No, I haven't experienced anything paranormal at the zoo. Well, I mean, I have, but it was human. But I have experienced things with dogs that I've owned.
Oh, wow.
Sorry?
Wow, what happened?
Well, I went to stay at my uncle's for a weekend, and on the Saturday night, I knew that I stood in between his sort of lounge and his kitchen, and I said, "Oh, like my dog Smokey." I said, "She's died." No, she hasn't. He went, "She's fine." I said, "She's died. She's dead. I know she's dead." And then when I went home on the following Tuesday, I think it was, my mum had said that Smokey died on the Saturday night, exactly the same time that I'd felt that she'd passed. But my mum used to have sort of parquet flooring, you know, that wooden flooring.
Yeah, the posh flooring.
And they used to have like, what do you call them, scatter rugs and stuff, didn't they, people years ago? And you could always hear the dog at night, and the dog would pitter-patter, come towards the bedroom. And then what she would do is she'd jump onto my bed. And I heard it, pitter-patter, as did my brother. And I wasn't bothered because I knew it was. And then I felt a body weight get on the bed. She felt it get on the bed. And then the body weight just snuggled down.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that was a nice experience. And then I worked with wolves, didn't I, for years?
Yeah.
And I went to see this woman. She was like a medium, and I don't know. She used to do all Reiki and all that sort of stuff, but she was a medium. And I knew she was good because when I walked in the shop, she didn't know me from Adam. And I had this wolf that I'd hand reared. And she passed away, and it broke my heart. And I went to see her, and she said, "Oh, I thought you were coming." She went, because she said, I realised something about you after speaking to you on the phone. And I went, right. She went, I realised that you were wolves. And I went, yeah, I do. She went, yeah, because spirit one's just coming before you. So she just told me, and that was like, whoa, bloody hell.
Making sure that the path is clear for you.
Yeah, I guess.
That's nice.
Yeah, I guess.
But you know what, Dan?
No.
This leads me to another question with animals. So there's been talk of Dogman. Is that animal, and we're just perceiving it to be something that we're not? The black shark in Norfolk and surrounding areas. Again, is this just a large dog and we're perceiving it to be something that it isn't? The black shark, if people don't know, is supposed to be a large black dog with red eyes, and they say it's the devil's dog. And if you see this, that you could die or become ill, or a tragedy will happen. It's supposed to be the dog working on behalf of the devil. Again, could this be somebody's dog that's passed away and it just used to love running in that area? It makes you wonder where some of this folklore have come from. So many people seeing the same thing. Is it just replay of that animal, a residual haunting of that animal doing the thing that it loved the most while it was alive? I know that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote that story, The Hound of the Baskervilles, based on an Norfolk.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So, so I'm just wondering.
It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I don't like the idea. I mean, you've got things like Dogman and Bigfoot and things like that, haven't you, out there? There's all different theories and wonderful ideas about where they come from, what they are. Some people say they skip dimensions. Some people say that particularly with Bigfoot, and in some instances, Dogman is seen in an area where they've recently had sort of ufology activity. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't like the idea of. I don't like the idea of. I've got nothing against people hunting at all. That they don't want to do that. It's entirely up to them. But I don't like the idea of shooting something that you don't know about.
But Dan,
I listened to sorry.
I was going to say to you, this famous chupacabra that they talk about. You've heard of the chupacabra.
Yeah.
Now, you're a wolf man, so you will know there is a wolf that's quite tall and has got these gangly legs. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you're talking about the maned wolf. They're South American.
Yeah, it's quite a large wolf.
American. Yeah, they're quite odd look. I think they're beautiful, but they're quite an odd. They are a wolf. They're sort of a halfway house, really. But people refer to them as. Well, yeah, people refer to them as fox on stilts. There was a guy in America, there was a guy in America who'd caught one, and he shot it and he had it in his freezer, and he got it on video and he pulled it out, and as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was, and it was a sort of coyote hybrid with a wolfy coyote hybrid, and it had mange, and as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. It was just a crossbreed, but. That people mistake things for. I don't like the idea of shooting things for the sake of just. I've got no problem with people killing for food or what have you, no problem at all. But I listened to a podcast once where the guy said he was talking about there was these guys and he was talking about Bigfoot being outside his house, and this guy said, "Why don't you get a gun and shoot it?" And it's like, well, it's not doing anything to you. Why would you want to do that?
I think they talk like that because it's more of a case of having to prove the existence of that particular species of something. So kill one to prove it.
I'd hate the thought of that.
Yeah,
I'd hate the thought of that. It's like UFOs, isn't it? People say, well, you know what? We don't see any of these aliens haven't come down here. No, because they know we bloody shoot them. Would you want to go somewhere that's that hostile?
Let's go to the chat and let's see what people are talking about as we were talking about the animal hauntings. So,
yeah, exactly, Von. I do too.
I was just talking about the dog scratch, I think.
Yeah.
I know. He's a jammy git, isn't he?
I worked for years. The third scratching at the door, and my husband, who is a non-believer, I've seen my lab about 4 times. Yeah, they're definitely there. Now he has been past 10 years now. I felt my Westie rub. Yeah, exactly. I had a dog in a pub. We did an investigation in a pub years ago. The pub was getting on for about 800 years old, 900 years old. It's ancient, this pub. And I was by the till talking to this guy and the girl, young couple that were running this pub. This pub had a lot of activity in it. And as I was standing there, my leg got pushed from by the side of me. And I was, what was that? And the guy went, oh, it was that. And it felt like it. I knew what it was because I could feel it nudging me. He said, oh, that's the dog. He said, he he normally walks past, and if you're in the way, he went, he'll just nudge you out the way with his muzzle. But I said, how long's the dog been gone? He went, oh, probably 30 years. He said, but he hasn't gone, has he? He said, he's still there knocking people out the way. You know? Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's all sorts of weird and wonderful things, Von. Yeah, exactly. I hate the idea that because it's unusual, or you're going to go out there and shoot it. This is absolutely. I'm not anti-hunting. People want to do that. That's their shout, But
let's move on.
Don't like.
Number 8 is apparition haunting.
Right.
Okay, so I know you wanted to talk about apparitions.
Yeah.
So this is your after charge, your apparition haunting. Explain to people what an apparition haunting is.
It's just basically where you see a partial or a full-bodied apparition of somebody in the most unusual circumstances, really, I think. I mean, I experienced one, I can definitely say it was an apparition. And I was coming back from a stately home. It was in Lincolnshire. Beautiful, beautiful place. And this house was hundreds of years old. We didn't get a thing there. We had a couple of footsteps, but nothing that you could say was definitive paranormal activity. But on my way home, it started to rain. It was cold. And I'd come off this roundabout, and then I'd gone onto this field, and there was a car in front of me. But there was nothing around for miles. It was just farmland, just great big open fields. And there was a bit of a lane, like a lane that went down, like one track that went down to this. I'm assuming there's a farm down there somewhere, but it would have been a long, long way down. Or it could have been just for access for tractors and machinery. I don't know. But as I turned the corner, the lights in front of me caught this girl that was standing there in the rain. And then as I went past her, I looked and I could see her. She had a skirt on that was quite long, these boots, like Wellington type things. And, the old 70s, 60s, 70s anoraks that the girls used to wear, boys used to wear them as well, with the hood. Yeah. And she had it pulled up and she was sort of a slight angle to me. So I could just sort of make her out. But the thing that really threw me was the carrier bag. She had a carrier bag in her hand, but it looks like a carrier bag from a shop, like do you remember the old Wavy Line shop?
Yes.
Like that from the 70s.
That's going back some years.
Exactly. It was that type of carrier bag. And I drove on, and then I thought, straight away, that's an apparition. That is a spirit, definitely. Because she didn't move. She just had her head down. So I thought, and then I started feeling guilty because I thought, you know what? If it's someone's daughter, if it was my daughter, and she'd had an argument with her boyfriend and he kicked her out, or she was having a breakdown or whatever, I don't know. Yeah. I would want somebody to pick her up and take her somewhere and make sure that she was safe. So I thought I'll turn around and just see. And if she go up to her and ask if she was okay and what have you. So I turned around, drove back. And when I drove back, she was gone. So I pulled the car up. I thought, well, she's got to be here somewhere. But it was all open fields. But I got out of the car and I looked down. There wasn't really a ditch there. It was just a little bit of a incline, but there was no ditch. And I walked up to more or less where she was, nothing there. Walked back, nothing there, still raining and cold and windy. And she just disappeared. But there was nowhere for her to go. Physically, she couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
The crops had been harvested. The field was just stubble, and she was just there, and there was nothing for miles around. No houses, nothing, and that perplexed me. That
It's
one still
amazing.
throws me.
It's amazing what you can see, though, isn't it? You know.
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's, I think what it was, we go on these investigations, and when we go on them, we don't really get activity until we relax, do we? And we start to put the hunt behind you and talk.
You say that though, Dan. I was one of the very few teams, very, very lucky, and I'm honoured to be able to have done it. But I investigated the Tower of London.
You did.
The week before Richard III was being reburied. That horrible, vile, nasty, spit on you, Richard III. And I did say that was because they say that he was responsible, or he gave the order to kill the two princes in the tower because he wanted to keep control of the throne, right? So he was being reburied. The week before that, I was in the Tower of London with my team. And you know me, I have what I call spidey senses. And we were walking the outer wall of the Tower of London. For those people that don't know, the Tower of London is not a castle. It is a fort. It's a fortified building that was built for the royalty, basically.
Fortified palace, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of things in its time. But we were in the outer walls, if you like, that have the towers, the famous tower, the bloody tower, the salt tower, the white tower, whatever you want to call them. We were walking between the Lancaster Tower, and I can't even remember the name of the tower in front of it. But by the Lancaster Tower, just in front of that, is where they keep the ravens of the Tower of London. So we were there. The ravens put to bed, fast asleep. They were good, not a problem, those birds. And my spidey senses started kicking off. So I hung back, and Richard's saying, "Oh no, come on, hurry up, I've got to catch up with you." So no, just stay here for a minute, Richard. Stay here for a minute. And so he said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I said, "Just stay here for a minute." And I said, "When I tell you at the same time as me, I want you to take lots of photographs on your phone. Just, you know, we had a little digital camera, and it was just like snap, 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 really quick, you know." So I went, "Right, now." So we both took pictures at the same time. And I said, keep going, take all these pictures. So we took all these pictures. And it's when we looked at these pictures back, my spidey senses were telling me that we weren't alone. I couldn't see them physically with my eye. When both of us got down from the walkway between the two towers, quite distinctly, we got a man who looked like a soldier with a very old-fashioned, very shiny...
I've seen those photos, yeah.
Holding like a big rod thing. I don't know what it was.
Like a pike, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we both got him, but from different angles. Because my camera was a little bit better than Richard's at the time, I think my quality come up a bit better. But But
you're really good at that. You're really good at getting photos.
But the other thing was, we were being told about the two princes in the tower, and I mean that fort that time was alive. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of apparition photographs we actually got. Neri, because of the hoo-ha with the reburial of Richard III, there is a photograph of two little boys and their keeper. There's somebody standing behind them, all looking through the window directly at us. And that was in the main tower, quite distinctly. I mean, these have been looked at and verified, and they now sit with the Yeoman Warders at the Tower of London. They have those photographs, and even they say that these were the two princes. They looked very upset and distressed, and I can imagine they were upset and distressed because that bastard, sorry, I shouldn't have said that, was being reburied. You know, people were saying to me at the time, "Are you going up to Lincolnshire to see?" And I said, "No, I'm bloody well, I'm not. You know, I've no time for that that man, who he was and what he did, was absolutely disgraceful. We were lucky. The non-believer, and he is a skeptical, is my Andy. Dan will tell you.
He is.
Even at the Tower of London, going under some of the gateways and things that we have there, he's taken photographs of partial apparitions of guards, again dressed with the shiny helmet and the puffy, you know. He's got them. So, you know, sometimes it's right place, right time, right do you call it atmospheric conditions?
Yeah, atmospheric conditions, yeah.
Time of year, you know. We were just really, really lucky. And I think the fact that there was all this big hoo-ha about Richard III, it stirred the pot big time there. So, yeah, we were lucky to get apparitions. I saw some things there, which was amazing. I felt things there, and we actually got photographs and some video evidence of apparitions. Well, it was very fleeting. So, I question it, but the team were very, very happy. But yeah, so again, do you see apparitions just because you're going to historic places, Dan? Because
I don't know. I mean, I think that every time that I've seen, I guess every time I've seen an apparition, which I've only probably seen 4 or 5, I guess, it's always been when I've sort of downtime, when I've been relaxing or not concentrating on. That's what I say. When I go to a paranormal investigation, when I go to a ghost hunt, I spend so much time scrutinising and questioning and listening intently and focusing that I'm not getting anything. But then when I relax, like when you know your downtime, when you have a coffee and a chat and a laugh, and then they almost when they start getting the hump, then don't they? It's like, well, hey, hang on, you're here to see me. How dare you ignore me and have a coffee?
But then, Dan, we went to Binham Priory. It was just me and you, and yeah, there were people were there, and then they left. And there was just me and you on the site, nobody else.
Yeah, it was.
And we saw this bloke. And and you go, yeah, it's just a bloke, Dan, just ignore him. And I'm like taking pictures. And no, Dan, there he is again. Look. And you're going, yeah, don't worry about it. But actually, Dan, you were looking at an apparition of someone, which we found out.
That's what I mean. They're probably talking to me all the time. And like, oh, let's go and talk to him. He hasn't got a clue. He won't know what we are. Go on, you tap him on the shoulder and tell him you're a ghost, and he still wouldn't know. That's probably what they're thinking. But I mean, there's definitely something distinct, isn't there? Although there wasn't about that guy at the house. I mean, I wouldn't have picked up on him as a spirit energy.
No.
But then the guy on the motorbike that I saw.
Yes.
On the way, we're on the way to? That was can't believe it was now. Yeah, and then I saw the guy on the motorbike, and he looked like he was from the 50s, and he had like these.
Quits.
I mean, I don't know if they wore them in America. I guess they did. These like airman boots that were leather with the white socks rolled over the top, pair of jeans, leather jacket, and like a quiff haircut. So, I mean, he looked like he was from the 50s. And I'm guessing, I mean, a lot of people didn't we killed on Sun Up Boys.
You didn't see his helmet either. So
no, there's no helmet. No
the
helmet.
Law of today is you have to wear a helmet, but back then you didn't.
No, it was weird. It was odd. And you think, am I seeing that? Am I not? I mean, the one thing that I could definitely threw me was that girl. I mean,
that's quite sad.
That's
sad.
I mean, I felt sorry for her more than anything.
Yeah.
Because I thought, if she's... Because then you start thinking, was this poor girl killed on the road? Did somebody take her? Is her body somewhere out there? And the sad thing is that she can't tell me.
Dan, let me tell you another one. I've not experienced it, but I've heard around this area about apparition haunting of a man and his dog, and it's a collie, like a border collie, and he walks in front of the car, and there's nothing you can do, and you hit him, and when the car's traveling, you actually feel bump where you're going over the body, and of course you're going to stop your car. There's a report that this gentleman he hit this man with his wife. She was in absolutely hysterical in the car because she just hit him head on, So he's stopped the car, told her, do not get out of the car, thinking that he's going to be a mess because they actually went over the body. And when he's gone back to check and help the man, there's nobody there. He's looked the other side of the road. He's looked everywhere. He's looked down the ditches in case he'd rolled down the ditch. Nothing there. So he's got on the phone. His wife's still hysterical and called the police. And the police have said, oh, don't worry about it. Get back in your car and drive home. There's nothing we can do. And he said, well, what do you mean there's nothing we can do? We get reports of this every year. Just ignore it. Go home. It's the ghost. And it's been reported that this happens on a yearly basis. The man walks in front of the car. They hit it. They see the man. They see his dog. They feel the bumps as they drive over the body. But there's nothing there. So, I mean, that's a strange one.
It is. Yeah, there are some odd ones. Yeah.
To make you go through that's horrible.
You know.
Should we see what they say in the
Yeah, let's have a see what people have got to say.
Right, how far did we get? Okay, right. Hold on, I've got to scroll up here. We've had a few. So just quickly touching on the last subject.
I'm going to saw that, Dan. They can get photos, film, etc. Other ways of proof and kill it. Yeah, exactly, Von. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Nick says, well, yeah, that's it's like he's talking about the Tower of London.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard to get in there, to be honest.
It's impossible, isn't it, now?
The photos are buried beneath the ether somewhere. I think there's
I've seen them years ago. They're pretty compelling.
There we go. So, should we move on to the next one, which is very controversial? Now, I have my beliefs. I know what it is. So number 9 is poltergeist activity. Now, I don't know about you, Dan, but a poltergeist isn't a ghost. It's energy stored within us.
Yeah.
And we're going through an emotional time. Something's happening. We're not talking about it. And I think of teenage children going through puberty and children in the middle of abusive parents, abusive to one another and going through divorce, right? So this pent up energy builds and builds and builds because we're not releasing it. So then it has to go somewhere. So it comes out all of a sudden and objects are moving. We've done that, not the ghost. That's what I believe poltergeist activity is.
Yeah.
Not a ghost throwing things around. Yet that does happen, but I wouldn't call that poltergeist activity. Poltergeist activity is what we are manifesting ourselves. What do you think, Dan?
I'm of the same belief as you, really. I did an investigation, got called out, this woman in Waltham Cross, and she lived in a property and she swore blind, and I've got no reason to disbelieve her. She was terrified, bless her. She said that there was poltergeist activity in there. Well, when she described it to me, I did the checklist and everything met the criteria for poltergeist activity. Things were getting smashed, things were being moved in front of her, things were being pushed, things were being changed around, stuff's being stacked up, taps are running, toilet flushing, all of that sort of stuff. And a few of us went there and we did the investigation there, and I went there about 3 or 4 times, and each time there was no activity. I mean, there was little things, but they could have just been natural environmental things, that like a camera fell over in the bathroom. Well, that could have been wind or anything, could have been anything, you know. So I sat down and I said to, look, you've got, what are the ages of your children? So I think she had 2 girls, but one was 13. And I said, oh, okay. I said, now, I don't want to be personal, but I'm guessing that she's starting to mature now and she's starting to do what comes naturally, what happens to the young ladies. And she said, yeah. And I said, do you notice this activity more in the house when she's here or when she's not? And she went, well, like, because every time we went there, she sent her away to her nan's because she didn't want the girl exposed to what was going on. It was frightening enough for her. And I kind of put two and two together and come to the conclusion that it was the energy was the girl. She was pent up energy, frustration. Everything's changing in her world. She's going into sort of womanhood, and she's changing from this prepubescent child into this adult. And she's not no confusion, frustration, anger, mood changes, and it had manifested itself in this activity. And I said to her, look, it's great that it's not happening. You know, don't get me wrong. She said, but as soon as you go, she went, it happens. When I said, what do you mean? As soon as we've gone? No. She went, like later on. I went, is the child back again? She went, yeah. I said, to be honest with you, we'd need to see the house with the child in it. So put the child to bed and then come down and we'll sit here and we'll see if anything occurs whilst she's asleep or she's in the house.
Yeah.
And the mother wouldn't do it. And I thought, you know what, fair enough. I understand that. It's a hard one to call, isn't it? Because she wants to do the best for her children, but she doesn't want to put the fear of God into them.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. So
you know what, Dan? I had a case. This was when very early on in my 20s, and I was called to this lady's house. She approached me in Spiritualist Church, and she had this problem in her house. The radio would come on by itself. She had a TV that had separate speakers. I don't know how they rigged it up, but they had separate speakers and an amp or something. And the speakers would come on and she would hear like voices talking through the speakers. And then the coats at the front door would get thrown across the hallway. Nobody there. So I agreed to go. I experienced some of the phenomena myself, and her son was there. Her son was 9 years old. Cute lad he was. And I'd go in the day, and the way we did it was mum's friends coming round for a coffee. I was her friend.
Thank you.
So I sat and played with the boy, got to know the boy, talked more with her, got to know about her. I mean, when he was at school, I'd go around for a coffee and she'd talk about what's going on in her life. And when I got right into it, she was going through a real messy divorce. The husband had upped and left for a younger lady, left the boy and her on her own. So she was trying to financially support herself because she wasn't paying any money. He was coming round and demanding this, that, and the other from her.
He sounds like a charmer.
Yeah, I want my son. You know, newly split up, you'd expect that. The boy didn't understand what was happening or why it was happening, was blaming himself. And so he was manifesting all of this. So we sat him down. Oh, bless her. I mean, this woman was so brave and courageous. I was round for a coffee. So mum's friend was round. He liked me because I used to play cars and stuff with him because I had 3 boys of my own. And I said, oh, I think mum wants to talk to you. I said, I'll go now. And he said, no, can you stay for a bit longer? Mum. And she thought it would be a good idea, you know, because I was all for the little boy. And she told him about what was happening. I said, you're going to have to face it rather than trying to protect him from it. He's living it. You're not going to protect him.
Yeah,
you're not going to tell him.
Yeah.
And so she sat him down and she told him what was going on, about daddy leaving, and he's got a new girlfriend. Is she going to be my mummy now? No, she will never be your mummy. I'm your mummy. You only get one mum. And, you know, she was really, really good with it. I mean, this woman was absolutely amazing what she did with that boy. And over a period of weeks, it got less and less and less and less because she was going through the courts and, you know, she had to get an injunction out against him and all that sort of thing. Because that poor little boy didn't know what was going on.
No, it's heartbreaking when kids are in that situation.
Yeah. And I believe that poltergeist activity was coming from him because he was upset, confused. He loved his mum, but equally he loved his dad. And they were fighting and all this sort of thing. So, yeah, it was I mean, the activity that was being produced when the coat's being thrown off from the front door right across the hallway, to hear conversations, you couldn't quite work out what was coming through those speakers, though. The thing was even unplugged from the wall, and you could hear it.
Yes,
It was,
it's amazing what, like, because obviously we're sort of biological electro machines, aren't we? We're pulsating electronic energy machines,
I
aren't
thought
we?
you was going to say you was a pulsating stallion. Then I was going to say you wish.
So we don't. So we don't know what we're giving off.
No.
You know, everything
No.
about us is either meat or electrical or water. So we don't
Yeah.
know what. And they're all energy forms, aren't they? So we don't know what happens to that energy. But as Einstein said, it doesn't dissipate, does it? Energy can't be killed. It can
No.
change, but it can't be killed or destroyed. So
Shall we see what
yeah,
they say in
sad
the?
with sad children, though.
Let's
Yeah.
see what they say in the chat.
So Von says, I've heard of a very similar story in Lincolnshire. The person who nicknamed the girl Ruth, he has a video of her actually speaking.
Oh.
Yeah. Von said, I can agree to an extent, Viv, but we had poltergeist activity in my house, but things were moved, changed around, etc. Nothing negative. We had some other people witnessing. I was not. Yeah, I think what can happen, Von, I think as well. I mean, like it's a theory. Nobody knows. There are no real experts in this field. But we're all trying to find the answers, and you theorize. And I do sometimes wonder that once those energies are released into the environment, do they then take on their own personality? Do they then, is it a form, like a thought form, but an energy thought form? Thought is an energy. Have we created that?
But don't forget, it's easier to blame the poltergeist than to admit wrongdoing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I lost my keys. I've lost my keys.
Yeah.
Where are they? I'm spending hours looking for. Oh, a ghost has moved them. No, I put the keys in the fridge when I was unloading my shopping, and it ended up in the fridge with the peas and the carrots or whatever.
And the older I get, the worse I get with it. You know what I mean? And it's like, put things down, and I walked around with a set of keys in my hand the other day looking for keys to the car, and they were in my hand. Things like that, isn't it? Because I think there's so much, life is so busy now, and there's so much going on that there isn't any lull in the proceedings. It's just full throttle, isn't it? And I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, next one.
Number 10. It's my favourite. A demonic. I can't even say that word. Demonic haunting.
Yeah.
Over to you, Dan, before I get on this one.
I don't know. This is what you call it. This is a can of worms. This is, isn't it? A sort of a.
Let's open that can.
Opening up Pandora's box. It's
Let's open that can.
Of course, I believe that there are energies there that are negative. Call them what you want, demons, whatever you want to call them. I'm not denying that, but I think that they're so few and far between, so rare, that the chances of somebody coming across one as a paranormal investigator, I wasn't going to say strike lucky, probably strike unlucky in that respect, but the chances of coming across one is quite minimal.
Do you think it's more spiritual based, this demonic hauntings? Is it fed from the churches to gain power over us? Do you think?
I think so. I think, to me, I mean, when somebody mentions demon to me, automatically I start thinking of like Adolf Hitler, child molesters, rapists.
Yeah.
That's demonic to me. That's a negative energy. You know, people that have got no boundaries, people that are sort of morally bankrupt. I think that to me is a negative energy. That to me is demonic, if you like. So
what about okay, so I'm gonna get controversial here.
Go for it.
Me, I don't care.
I mean, you know what? I might be completely wrong. This is just my ideas, my theories, and I might be wrong.
So I'm dual nationality. Okay, so my father is Indian, my mother is English, and an English side is mixed up again because my granddad.
I thought you were going to say that you're half diamond and half ruby, because you're dual nationality.
So then my granddad's a Geordie and my
Crap.
granddad's a Cockney and my nan was a Geordie. Anyway, we won't go there. So into the family, we had Arabs on my dad's side in the family. So, and my father worked for an Arab airline, so we're out in the Middle East quite a lot, and we see a lot of stuff. And where I travelled the world 2 holidays a year, once a year to India, and then once a year somewhere else, normally Middle East. Places like, believe it or not, Beirut. We've been to Beirut. It was lovely when we went, but that's a different story. So talking about religions, so I heard all religions from all sides. I know that the oldest religion out there is the Islamic religion. Then all religions are sort of like a little bit of a spin-off from. They say that the cradle of civilization is in Ethiopia. So there's that sort of thing. And then I hear all the religions talking about demons, jinn, and then I started investigating, well, what are these demons? Where have they come from? Then I, come down to more modern day stuff. For example, Baal or Baal, or
Storm
however you want to pronounce
Storm
it.
God, yeah.
There is a lovely temple, it was in Syria, dedicated. Is that Baal one or is it Beelzebub? One of the two. One of the bees.
I have no idea.
I can't remember now. It was a long time ago. And this temple is in ruin, but it was beautiful. So this demon god was celebrated, and all the statues, I'm sure it was Beelzebub, this one. The statues were gorgeous. Some of them were a bit rude, but if you looked back at the ancient Romans, the men had their willies.
It was all phallic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was all phallic.
So, and this particular, what we would call demon today, Beelzebub, was celebrated. And a lot of people went there. It would have been very gorgeous, pomp, ceremony, flowers, extravagance, you name it, there would have been all that. But because we don't agree with it, then we as humans are going to call it demon. Because we're not part of that religion, we don't understand it, don't want to. That's demon. And
well, the word demon is a derivative of deity, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think throughout the years, they have demonized, if you like, these deities to be demons because we don't know it or understand it. Therefore, if it's like that, or we don't want to, or we don't like that, those type of people that celebrate that, let's call them devil worshippers, And I take it right the way back to the Templar Knights. The Templars out in the Middle East, out in Israel, were using as part of their banner Baphomet, which is that man goat thing.
Yeah.
And the Templar Knights are loved by everyone. Yet, when you see a picture of Baphomet, you will automatically think, oh, Satanism. And that's not the case at all. So
it's the old religion of the horned god, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you take Pan or Cernunnos, which is the Irish Celtic deity, or Pan, which is, I'm not sure, I think Pan's, is he Greek? I'm not sure. But there's representation throughout all the ancient cultures of this one god, isn't there? This god.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have run long parallels to each other.
Yeah.
And obviously the Christian church horned god, well, we'll turn that into something that's a demonic or a devil, and then we'll change the perception of it, Okay. I mean, I used to have a friend years ago, and spoke to her for a long while, who was actually a proper practicing witch. She wasn't what do they call it? Wiccan. She was actually a proper bona fide generational witch.
Yeah.
And she said the amazing thing she said to me once is, you know what? It doesn't matter what deity you pray to. It doesn't matter if you pray to whatever Christian, non-Christian, whatever. There's lots of different paths that go to the same route. These paths lead to the same thing, but different people take different paths.
You know what?
And I thought, you know what, that was an enlightening thing to say.
Yeah. Do you know what, Dan? I believe that these demonic hauntings. When I say demonic hauntings, I'm talking about possessions and things like that. It can happen. Don't get me wrong. I have seen seen a bad possession myself. I don't know what it was about. Don't want to know what it was about. I remember just seeing it and being pulled away from it. But I believe they happen, but they are so rare. They are very, very rare. And they're happening to these people for a reason, right? There's a reason for that to happen. Now, this is where it gets controversial, because a lot of people in America, and America is my biggest gripe for this, is if they don't understand it or because they're scared of it, it's demonic. It's not. I can guarantee you it's not, because you get scratched by that dog in spirit. It's demonic. And this is my biggest gripe. You are not, people must realize we are not that special to be attacked in that way. And if these people are being attacked in that way, there is a reason for that to happen, which is why they're very few and far between. Now, the possession of Emily Rose is a true story, and also The Exorcist is a true story because of a boy. It wasn't because he was playing with Ouija boards that he got possessed. That's what Hollywood would lead you to believe. There are reasons why this happened, and there was one famous one where a girl was possessed in France, and she was taken to the big.
Oh yes.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I know. That was horrific.
Yeah. So when you hear about people becoming possessed, there is such thing as trance mediumship, and there are reasons why that happens. And a spirit is not going to enter your body and take over for no reason. 9 times out of 10, for trance mediumship and spirit, they want to say something or get a message across. For the demonic possession to happen, and I can't emphasize how rare it is, trust me, you are not that special that it's going to happen to you necessarily.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's no why would they attach themselves to a lot of these people? They're not being funny, but what purpose have they got they can utilize?
Von, I've just seen a Von. I know we haven't got to the comments bit, but Von said something that I want to just say about, right? A lot of demonologists are educators of the truth. This is just my opinion, Von, so please don't help me. A lot of demonologists are not educators of the truth because they're not actually demonologists. Trust me. Real demonologists are very far and few between these days. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to go and look at all these religions. They don't want to see what's happened around the world or go to these places and actually see it with their own eyes. A lot of demonologists, we have a different view of a demonologist here in the UK than they do in America. In America, if you're a ghost hunter, you're a demonologist. No, it's not right. A demonologist takes years and years and years of practice, research, understanding, looking at religion. And there's not many out there that do that anymore. I don't know what you think about it, Dan.
I think that a lot of these people proclaim, I'm not saying they all, of course I'm not saying they all do, but there are some people that I've met through my career, if you like, that it's tantamount to picking up a spirit level and then saying you're a bricklayer. Doesn't work like that. It's people put a lot of effort and time and energy into the studies of these things, these negative energies or negative, we call them negative. They're just energies, aren't they?
Yeah.
But there are negative energies out there, but they put a lot of study and they put a lot of their time and effort into it. They dedicate themselves to it.
There's a lady in America, love her or hate her. I think she's a great demonologist, and she's done it for many years. Oh God, what is her name? Oh, she was on Paranormal State Oh God, I'll think of her name. It will come to me. It's really going to bug me now. But she's written countless books and studied it for God knows. I mean, she's a lot older than me for most of her life, I should imagine. But she's actually travelled, put the work, the effort into it, and you just can't fault that lady. But again, you don't hear them talking about jinn very much. It's all the other demons. And for me personally, I mean, Dan and I had a brush not that long ago, which we can't really talk about on here, where jinn was involved, and straight away it was like, no, we can't get involved. We cannot get involved.
So there's one thing I wouldn't get involved with. That's one thing that frightens me, because
Shall we have a look at
scares me.
Shall we have a look at the comments, Dan?
Yeah, let's have a look, Viv.
Right, so it's Von. We're talking to Von tonight.
I don't believe in demonics. There were good and bad people in all walks of life. I think the demons only come from the church. Yeah,
yes. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, agree, Von. Yeah.
No, I agree. Definitely
I
agree.
agree. Yeah, I think you're right. It's just a way of manipulating people, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
You know, I believe in God. I don't necessarily believe in religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some out there, Von. There are some, and there are some blinking good ones out there.
Yeah, that's it, Von. You hit the nail on the head. Definitely. Spot on there.
I think a lot of occultists are more in tune with that, aren't they, as well?
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you now, right? I don't care, because I'm proud of the fact I am a Satanist. And I do believe in the devil, but not in the way that you think that the devil exists. But I'm not going to go into that. That's another show. We'll talk about Satanism another time.
Be interesting subject to talk about, like different religions and perceptions.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that, Dan.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We're coming close to time, so let's put all this in one category, shall we? Because we got about 5 minutes. So we've got 5 minutes, Dan.
Yeah, that's all right.
We've got actually 3 categories: alien haunting, spiritual haunting. When I say spiritual as in spiritualists, orbs, and outer body. Pick one and say something about it quick, Dan. Orbs.
Do you know what? I've got this ongoing love-hate relationship with orbs. For years, but for quite a while, I was convinced that they were manifestations of energy, spirits. And then, like, no, this is all nonsense. This is nonsense. It's clearly dust. And then I experienced a couple of things with orbs that they emanated an energy that you could see inside them, like a Tesla ball. Not only that, but the trajectory that they took and moved could only be taken by something that was intelligent.
Yeah, but drafts can go around corners.
No, they can. But the things that I've seen, I've only seen a few. I'm not saying all of them. Yeah, these things you can see with the naked eye, not just on a camera lens. These things I've seen with the naked eye. And I saw one, and there was a haunting in a pub, another pub that I did. And the woman said, "Oh, this energy comes from the bar, walks across towards the door, and then walks back again, and then goes behind the bar. And, you know, they can hear glasses moving." And I sat there, and it was daylight. It was probably about, I don't know, it might have been about 7. It was a summer's evening, 7 in the evening. And whatever way I looked, I saw this ball of light come from where she said that the energy came from, and followed the trajectory, went right round the bar, across the bar, over to the door, stopped, came halfway back and stopped like it was looking at me. Like it was looking at me, and this other guy was sitting next to me, although he didn't see it at the time. And then went back again behind the bar. Then you heard glasses chink, and it had disappeared. And I'd seen a couple like that.
Do you know
and
what,
it
Dan?
was emanating its own energy.
I hate orbs with a passion, as you know, because you can decipher 99.9% of them. But I stood in this building and I said, "Oh, you know, I don't believe in orbs. If, you know, you're a spirit and you're going to show yourself, don't waste your time with a round circle. Do another shape. I'm going to take some pictures. Can you show yourself as a square?" Being facetious as you do. Do you know what I got on every single photograph in that building after that were triangles? And it wasn't, and it was not the shutter. Seriously, I mean, these
That's them
triangles.
saying, isn't it? Well, you might want a square, but you know what? I decide
I'll give you a
what I want.
triangle.
I'll give you a triangle.
We even blew them up, but we just could not explain the triangle thing.
I know,
It
I know.
was
It's
crazy.
amazing, isn't it? But that threw me. That, you know, and there are things. Go on, sorry, if you go on.
They say be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. I mean, 99.9% of them, I say, there's just dust. It's just stuff on the screen. It's a moth. It's an insect that's got into onto the front of your thing. Your perception through a lens is going to be totally distorted compared to what it would be in real life. And you can see a lot of these are what they are, but a couple I've seen have thrown me, and a couple of stories that friends have told me about experiences that they've had.
What do you think about the faces inside the orbs? Do you think that's pareidolia? Because I do.
What's that? The
faces inside an orb.
I think a lot of that's pareidolia, isn't it? A lot of people's we're hardwired, aren't we? We're hardwired to recognise faces and everything. It's part of our survival mechanism. But it's hard to say. And I mean, I don't believe in orbs per se, and I would call them out for what they are. But I would say that there are 1.1% or 1% of what have you that is, I don't know what it is. I couldn't describe it as a spirit. Could be alien for all I know. Could be anything. Could be anything. You know,
it's how we perceive it to be as well, doesn't it? Because some people really want it to be their loved ones come back, and and you know what? Do you know what, Dan? We've got to respect these people if that's what they want to believe, whether we believe in it or not. It's like with a demonic thing, whether we believe in it or not, we have to respect people's views.
Do you know what, Viv? I'm the first to say I'm not a leading authority on it. I've done it for many years. And if anybody tells you they are a leading authority, then they're lying.
Yeah.
Because, we're all learning. None of us really know. It's all conjecture and supposition. We don't know. We're just going on what we think might work and what we think they are, I know. I mean, I feel that I know for definite that the spirit's there without a shadow of a doubt, and that your personal energy, and then an energy of a person, it never dissipates. On it will be there, and I believe in that. I believe in God, and I believe in.
Let's look at the chat because we've got 3 minutes, Dan.
That was quite a nice evening.
Do you know what we've got? I think it was you were saying about
excellent, Von.
Things.
I think it's important to understand each individual's definition of demonic. Yeah, exactly. It is semantics. Yeah.
Definitely.
Come and catch you. Exactly, Natalie. I couldn't disagree with you. Satanism, not that I know much about it, but I agree Satanism is how it's perceived.
I'll tell you one day, Bond. We'll do it over a coffee if you want. I don't mind.
Exactly. I'm on the fence about orbs. Yeah, that's exactly. If ever I get one on camera interacting with me, I don't think I will believe. I'm not into photography. I understand all the workings, to be able to say. Even the world's best photographers are stumped by some of the things that these cameras do. Thank you, Linda. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. But
next week, Dan, quickly, we've got 2 minutes. So next week, we're going to talk about apparitions. I'm going to try and get this working where I can get some photographs up. Dan's going to give us some pictures. I've got some pictures. We might even get the Tower of London ones on. Who knows? But Dan wants to do a whole discussion on apparitions. Please join us next Tuesday. I'm sure it's going to be fun where we're going to be talking nonsense all over again. But
exactly. And remember, everybody, we're not saying we're experts. We're far from it. We just tell you what we believe. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm not saying I'm right. I might be completely wrong.
And tomorrow,
if
you've not had enough of us, tomorrow on the Simply Spooky page on Facebook, we are on again at 8:00 with guests Mark Manley and Wayne Seedon, the Dark Mirror Boys.
That'll be a fun one because they're a lovely couple of lads.
And don't forget, Striking Midnight on YouTube. If you look out for Striking Midnight Paranormal.
Yes, that's me and Viv.
You can see some of the things that we've been up to. We haven't been out for a while, so I think we're going to have to get.
No, we haven't. We haven't. But we don't worry. We'll be getting straight back into it. It was just a lapse.
Take care.
God bless everybody. Love
to
everybody.
Stay safe. Love you all. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Stay safe.